Today we have the mangrove horseshoe crab, and a quick introduction to this animal is that it actually isn't a crab at all. It's actually part of the arachnid family and is more similar to a scorpion or a spider than an actual crab. So here's a classification or taxonomy of the animal. So the kingdom is Animalia, phylum is Arthropoda, subphylum is Calaricerata, order Ceophorsora, family Limolidae, genus Carcinoscorpius, and the species is C. rotundica. Okay, this crab, or arachnid, is located in the brackish waters of the Indo-Pacific. So that would be countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, and China, Japan. A lot of eastern and southern and some southeast or southwest countries, you can find these animals. So, facts about the mangrove horseshoe crab. So the crabs mainly feed on insect larvae, small fish, oligochaetes, which are a species of aquatic worm that live in the sand, and small crabs and thin-shelled bivalves. And below is right there you can see those multicolored shells. Those are bivalves, those little shells you'll find on the beach when you're a kid. So these animals, they lack jaws to grind up their food. They lack jaws and grind up their food with the bristles on their legs. The average lifespan is thought to be 20 or 40 years, and the exact lifespan can't be exactly determined because the wild conditions versus the conditions in captivity. There's a lot of intangibles that go into how long these crabs may live. So one interesting fact about these crabs is that they're actually older than the dinosaurs, and they are 450. Well, the species is 445 million years old. So they haven't had any major evolutionary changes, except for the only change that they've had is their size, which has decreased, of course. But other than that, they've retained the same morphological features. This is mainly because there's been no demand or no demand for change, because the shape of their bodies has been quite advantageous in terms of predation and other factors that go into their survival. So, uses of the mangrove horseshoe crab. So, this would be like its non-tropical relatives. Its blood or plasma is used in the medical, pharmaceutical, and food industries. The harvesting of these crabs for medical research has dwindled their numbers in the recent years. And this is just some background information to this statement right here. Is actually the crabs are not killed or intentionally killed in the process of removing their blood, because only a third of their blood is removed. However, thanks to increasing stressors on aquatic life like pollution, climate change. This 1/3 of blood removed, when they place the animals back into the environment, 1/3 of blood removed can actually be a defining stressor that adds on to those others and pushes this animal so much to its limits that it actually dies. So that's a problem with the harvesting of the blood. So mangrove horseshoe crabs, blue blood. So approximately 500,000 of these crabs are collected every year to be harvested for their blood. So in the background here, you can just see it's a lab, and they have them these crabs hooked up to these this conveyor belt. And what they do, they take the crab has two sections of its body, and they bend one half over and use this belt, as you can see there, that black belt, going across the top of the body to fasten them. And in the back, they insert a little syringe into a soft, squishy area of the body and begin to drain, as I said, 1/3 of the blood from these animals' bodies. So what is special about this tropical marine invertebrate's blood? The blood is comprised of 3 proteins: hemocyanin, the respiratory protein, and C-reactive proteins. So this combination right here allows their immune systems to form a clear gel-like clot around bacterial endotoxins that enter their bloodstream. And this is very interesting to scientists because despite the animal is because it hasn't had any evolutionary changes. It's a very simple animal. It's not very complex, but it's able to do this amazing thing that even we as much more complex animals have not developed the ability to do in their own bodies. So, if a foreign object is detected to be pathogenic, the blood will clot around it. This object is then carried to a waste site in the crab to be destroyed. The ability to immobilize and engulf the endotoxins from the bacteria has been attributed to the organism's blood lysate called LAL. The mangrove horseshoe crab formed this evolutionary ability in response to gram-negative bacteria in its environment. Okay, organisms' evolutionary response to gram-negative bacteria. So the mangrove horseshoe crab, formed this evolutionary blood clotting ability in response to the gram-negative bacteria, which live in the sand where the organisms are found, approximately in 1 parts per billion in the mangrove sand and mud of the shore where the crab lives. Shores where the crab lives. The bacteria, which use the endotoxins as a structural component in their cell walls. So these endotoxins trigger inflammatory responses within an animal that may lead to infection and mortality. Often mortality. The mangrove horseshoe crab has developed this efficient method to defend against these microorganisms. So as you can see in the background here, you see these animals are well entrenched in the sand and the water and the shores. So this is where billions of these organisms are living per gram. So it's like a very small amount of space. You'll have billions of these little microorganisms, gram-negative bacteria living. So, of course, they're going to be ingested into the organism's body when it's trying to feed. So imagine if you have billions of these, and they're all sending off endotoxins in your body, and what are you just going to implode on yourself? You have all these endotoxins. You're like, oh, what do I do with these? Well, just form you a clot, and I guess soak all this stuff up anyway. So here's a brief diagram of how LAL is harvested. And so first, in the top left-hand corner, so you're just a innocent little mangrove horseshoe crab minding your business. Some scientists, come scoop you on, put you in a bucket, takes you to a lab somewhere. The second step, right, it says, ouch. They stick a syringe in you, drain you for a bit, take your blue blood, put in one of those spinny things you lose in a lab. That goes round and round, mixes it up. Next, you have the blue vial right there. So you got all the other stuff out, hopefully. And then you use it to make this LAL compound. And then, down there, boom, you got LAL. Okay. How the LAL compound is used in medicine. Okay, the compound is used to conduct bacterial contamination tests in patients. Many people could die from infections without this crab's plasma. The blood of the invertebrate is valued at $15,000 per liter. Okay. Applications of the LAL test in the pharmaceutical industry. So these are used to test for pyrogens in pharmaceutical products. Pyrogens are a substance typically produced by a bacterium that produces fever when introduced or released into the blood. So basically what the LAL compound, another advantage of it is that it prevents the testing of drugs on live animals. So usually before the LAL compound was used, they were tested on mice and other small rodents or like rabbits. And a lot of these animals be harmed in the process. So the LAL compound circumvents the whole use of testing drugs on live animals. Applications in the quality control of water and food. The LAL compound is used to evaluate water quality, used to test the presence of pathogenic bacteria in raw meat and other meat products, milk and dairy products, fish, and a great variety of food. All right, here are my sources, and thank you for listening. Hope you learned a lot.